to the previous video, civic versus authentic adult authority. So one of the problems that presents itself with a civic authority is that the people who are given civic authority are given, it seems, absolutely no training in certain subjects that would be essential for anyone who has a job that entitles them to civic authority. For one, the training needs to change. Training needs to include the following subjects. For one, an understanding of what their areas of action can be and what their areas of limitations are. For instance, police have to be trained very carefully that their job is to detain and bring to arrest. It is not their job to mistreat or to punish people whom they think are guilty. It's just not their job. If they think someone is guilty and they need to arrest that person, they need to do so firmly without mistreatment or lack of courtesy or respect. This is serious, really. And let the judge and jury decide their guilt. That's the way the law works. And many policemen think they are the law. They are not. Policemen are not the law. They are authorized to legitimately detain and arrest, and that's all. They're not allowed to judge, to mistreat, to beat up, or to kill. That's not their job, unless their lives are being directly threatened, but that in a very real sense. Now, for many years in England, policemen were unarmed. I don't know if they're still unarmed today. They have a baton and that's it. And when British police do need to shoot someone, they don't shoot to kill. They shoot to stop them. They shoot in the legs. So there was a case in both countries. In Britain, a suspect was being put under arrest, but he was about 10 or 15 feet away from the police, and he was waving a sword or some sort of a machete. What did the police in England do? They simply shot him in the leg, and he became harmless. And then they arrested him and sent him to the hospital, and he was treated, and then he went through the judicial system. What happened in America when a very similar occurrence happened? The suspect was waving a machete or a baton or a sword or a saber, I don't know. And the police, instead of shooting him in the leg to stop him, shot him dead. What is this business about killing? The man was no threat to anyone. They were too far away. He didn't have a gun. In another instance, police have justified the killing of someone because they mistook his cell phone in his hand for a weapon. Well, if you're not sure if a cell phone in the hand is a weapon or not, don't shoot to kill. Shoot him in the leg. If he's still holding the cell phone, shoot him in the arm. But for Pete's sakes, don't take someone's life when it's no immediate threat to you. So that's one thing that's important in training, to make the limits of authority clear. Because even if you have civic authority, as do policemen, teachers, professors, and other people who are in charge of either the general public, as far as that goes, monitoring them, or younger people such as children, that's not limitless authority. It's authority that has limits. So in training, policemen particularly, but also teachers and others, need to be instructed that their power is not unlimited. They have limited power. The second thing, that's the first thing that needs to be taught, that they're very clear what their roles are. And in the case of teachers, they're not allowed to physically punish children or to abuse them mentally or verbally. Their jobs are to redirect and change the situation. And if they can't handle that, they shouldn't be teaching young children. The second thing that needs to be taught to people in positions of civic authority is a clear understanding of ethics and morals. What is right and what is wrong when you're dealing with other people and you think you have authority over them? What are the permitted areas of response? That needs to be taught. Ethics needs to be taught in our middle schools, in our high schools, and in college. It should be mandatory to teach civic and personal ethics. Now, I'm not talking about religion, because obviously some people have very strong religious convictions and they shouldn't be obliged to study someone else's religion if they don't want to. But I'm talking about civic ethics, legal ethics, moral as far as the ethics goes. They need to have an understanding of these perspectives and what is acceptable and not acceptable behavior. There sometimes develops a mentality of authority. I remember a case that came up before Judge Judy not too long ago, a couple of years ago. A man worked for an HOA, and he was armed, but apparently he was illegally armed. He had an open carry. And this man was so enamored of his power that he ended up being a menace to everybody. He would kind of wave his pistol at some woman who had, according to him, parked where she shouldn't have parked. And there was an altercation in which the woman said, "But I live right here. I'm parking on the curb in front of my own house." And he would just reply like a robot. Section 4, Article 34B states that. And that's all he did. Even in the program with Judge Judy, he kept blurting out all these articles. Of course, he was removed from his job. He was voted out. But he was a menace. He became so in love with his authority or perceived authority that he became abusive. And so people who have a tendency to be abusive, please look, and who want to control other people, and they get a great deal of satisfaction in that, look at your own lives and the areas in which you need to be more self-controlled. Are you tremendously overweight, as was this person in the from the HOA? Maybe you need to look at your issues of self-control before you start bullying other people. Do you have a short temper? You need to look at that. Do you have issues in your life that make you prone to acts of violence? Go to therapy. Therapy should be mandated for people who have civic authority over others. Therapy should be mandated for teachers. Ethics and morals have to be taught as well. And then there has to be taught a clear understanding of the law within their job areas. So we need to change our training. We complain about the police, but the training is all about gun use and, detaining people and saving your own life, but they're not trained enough to save other people's lives, to think of it, to change the perspective. So this was just part C of my post number 53. So this is post number 54, part C of the series on civic authority and its limitations. Everybody's willing to be the boss, but nobody's willing, it seems, to self-control. You can't control other people. You're not qualified to control other people if you cannot control yourself. Start with yourself, and then look at, even the Bible says, Christ said, don't be so concerned about removing the splinter that you see in somebody else's eye. That is, the faults that you notice in other people. Take care of the big beam you've got in your own eye first. So I'll leave you with that. Have a lovely day. This is post number 54 on my page, Advice for Life. Welcoming your comments, and have a great day. Bye.